Okay, so we're gonna start after sorting material icons and so forth. We're gonna go ng serve and see where we at. And we're gonna talk about what we're gonna add in this iteration. In the past, hmm, oh, pretty simply, I'm not actually running. Sorry about that. I'm not actually running the server. This one um, should have failed. Yeah, it should have brought me here. Maybe it was an old page that was showing up. Not really sure. All right, so we have delete working. We have delete working here. We have if statements. We have loop statements, all those things. What we're going to do is we're going to have an add student. And so to do that, we're going to use reactive forms this time around. And I'm going to show you how to build reactive forms. Most of the reactive form is actually very simple when we're talking about dealing with an actual form. A simple form is very, very easy. Once we get past the simple form, we're going to be doing a lot. And so it's very important that we follow along as is. So I'm going to separate the validation from the simple form. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to stop our thing. We're going to ng generate another component, and it's going to be our add student component. Our add student component is going to allow us to add a student. Surprise, surprise. First thing we're going to do is not going to sound super trivial, but um, it's actually very important. Okay. So if you haven't noticed, by the way, every time I start, I'm saving you breadcrumbs along the way. Every demo one, demo two, demo three, I actually delete the node modules folder and then reinstall it. And so that's all that you see there in the screen. Um, but I forgot to open it. All right, great. So now we have our add student. First thing I want to do is grab the student detail. And you're going to go, wait, what? I'm going to show you why. We're going to grab the add student HTML and we're going to dump the um, add student in here. Okay. We're going to change add student, of course, to just add student. We're going to still have the list of students, blah, blah, blah. Great. What we're going to do in here is we're going to add form fields for each one of these fields. We're going to actually only have one of the, oops, I should have did that poorly. I should have gone all the way there. We're going to get rid of this. We don't need or want the font color. We'll show you how to do that later. In fact, when we do validation, I promise you we will in fact do that. Okay. I'm gonna leave the column span here. I'm just gonna put question marks inside. Now, as you may have guessed, all of this is gonna fail. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna go ahead and add a student. Okay. Um, ooh, it really does not like to. It was fixing the imports earlier, but now it's not at all. So import student, and why is it not doing it? There we go. And those problems will generally resolve themselves. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need it. Okay. And like I said, those issues sort of just resolve themselves. We're actually going to see something more complicated than this, but we want to always start off from a working place and then work towards adding the thing you need. So the first things first, we don't want a student at all. And you're like, wait, what? We don't want a student at all. Okay. At any point, do we want a student? So we want the reactive forms module first. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a student be a form group. And you go, wait, it has to install. Oh, come on. It did like the other guy, but it's not liking this guy. Form group. And you go, why am I taking away the student and I'm adding a form group? It's actually quite simple. Okay. I actually want to do this for a variety of reasons. One, pretty simply, I don't wish I want to use reactive forms, but I don't wish to have to do certain things, right? So I'm going to use the student form group, and then I'm going to come along, and my constructor is going to, we're going to need the service, sure, but we're going to start off with private, a form builder, and I'm going to go this dot student equals group, right? Um, what we're going to do is create a new form group. That's what this is. It's building, it's going to go ahead and build a form for us. Um, and then what we do inside of here is we just create an array of things that we need. Now, this should map exactly to student. So for example, we're going to go with SID being the first thing, and that's going to be it's going to be a new form control and bang. Okay. Why are you being such a jerk? Not sure why it's not importing my form controls. Hmm. All right. I just did this in another folder, so I'm going to do it real quick and grab it. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and save them. Okay, sorry. Nope. Okay, I see what I did wrong. All right. Boom. Didn't leave it open, did I? Nope. Actually, you know what? Let's leave this open in case I need something from it. Okay. Form open folder. Get a desktop and it's work. Student app. Source. Bang. Okay. Great. So what I was doing wrong here was just this part, right? I don't need to specify the form. I can just go new form control. Okay, and I don't want that here. I want these are commas, right? Because we're actually forming an object. And this object will eventually be our the same as our student. Okay. Name. Now, form control can actually have an initial value, and that's what I'm sending along. Okay. It can also have states, can set up all sorts of things. You can add form control options. You can add validators and all sorts of things, right? So we'll talk more about that as we go along. What I'm actually doing with the no argument thing here is I'm actually indicating that that should start off as nothing. Okay. Major and then year. And then GPA, and that's the last one. So we're done. Okay. All right, great. Pretty simple. We're just creating new form controls for each one of the SID, name, major, field, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come back and we're going to go label. We identify this as a label. For which field are we going to label it? SID. Label. So why do we doing this? Later, oh, excuse me, for equals. Later on, we're actually going to come back and edit these. So I'm going to do that for each one of these is down below. Okay. And I'm going to come back and set each one of these to be the field name. Um, because these need to match the form control name because we're going to be able to identify via JavaScript which one we want to color red as an example. So by the 4 part. So we're going to set that to GPA. Bang. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add I think it was input. I'm sorry, I'm brain farting again. Some days are, what you call it. Let me go grab it from the other one. Pretty simple. It is just literally input. You'll see what I mean in a second. Just like a form field. There's nothing special about these. Um, oh, come on. There we go. So it's just an input field. You want the SID to have an ID, so you need to have the ID there. The ID is going to be used for JavaScript, but the form control name, this is what's identifying to Angular that this is the form control for um, the form control, excuse me. This form control here, SID, is going to be controlled by this guy, right? So these two are going to work together to do their work. Now I'm just going to grab that and I'm going to come back here and do the same for name, major, year, and of course GPA. And then I'm just going to go name. Once I copy name, I'm going to come back and paste it and copy major and paste it. Nothing special here. Year, and I'm going to come back and paste it. Okay. And of course, GPA, I'm going to come back and paste it. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is, excuse me, I want a button um, for submit. I'm sorry, my brain is not working as well. Um, so I'm going to grab the button for submit. Do we need to be a button? No. You could have input types submit. Totally would work. There's no reason why you have to have the button. The button is going to be allow you to style it better. And then of course you need to set the form here. Okay. So the very first thing you want to do with the form is you just need to identify the control. And I brain farting here. Um, you need to specify the form group, and then you need to specify the name of the form group. In our case, it is student, not student form. Okay. And then we're going to have a submit. There is no submit function yet. Oops. So I'm going to have a submit function here and submit. And all I'm going to do is console dot log. I'm not actually going to do anything. I'm going to put this dot student in there. Oh, you want to put value. Okay. It's going to get the values. You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay. Great. So we can't get to the form yet because we don't actually have a what's called, but we do have mostly a working form. There are going to be some things that are missing. Most notably right here, we don't have the closing of the form. So we do now. Okay, great. So let's go back to routes and let's go add a route. I like to add it. I like to add the routes that don't require parameters to come first, such as the add. So I'm going to add student component's going to be handling the add. Voila. Okay. So let's go ahead and type ng-serve and hope that we did enough code correctly that it will compile. Yeah, it compiled. Okay. So let's go to add. Sorry, I'm typing all sorts of crazy stuff. Here we go. And here's our form. Yay. All right. Let me get a couple things open. We want our developer tools open. Okay, great. So let's see add. Okay. SID, we can put 3 in there, 3, 3, 3, 3, click submit. You can see SID is 3, name. Hey, wait a second. This is going to look identical to what a student object looks like. And so this is going to work as a student object. But what do we need here? We need the SID to be in a certain range. So without further ado, let's make it 5 digits. Let's actually have a string here. 4 would have worked. It would have submitted. Computer science, we're going to add computer science. Okay. Actually, before I go any further, I'm going to come back here and just look at the student controls. If you remember, we have to have a 5-digit integer as our input. And we also needed the name, major, and and the year has to be one of the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, right? GPA needs to be a range. We're not worried about validation right now because we're not going to get there, right? That's going to be the next recording. But if I go like this, oh, wait a second. That is submitting a object with the SID, a name, major, year, and a GPA. This would actually submit to my server. In fact, I can actually go ahead and add that. Choo, choo, choo. Okay, I'm going to open up a new window. I'm already brain farting enough, so let's go ahead and open the original. That's in the old code. Where's old code? Here we go. Student app. Boop, boop, boop. Now, of course, I do things very differently here. So what we see here may not actually work. Add student, it's going to take a student, and we're going to send an observable. Okay. All right. Right. Okay. So we're not going to be able to send a student, right? It's just actually of a class student form. And so that's going to actually work a little bit differently, but it's going to work roughly the same. So we're going to go here and we're going to go into our service, public, add student, and we're going to take a student, but it's going to be a class student form, observable, any, post should return a student, this dot base URL plus make it student. And instead of adding another parameter like this, I'm actually going to add the student. Okay. Now, what I could do, and I think it would be dumb to do it, but I could do it. There's got to be an easier way to do this, but I don't know off the top of my head, so I'm just going to show you this really quickly. So on a submit, I could create I could go, I'm going to go ahead and create a student here. Okay, great. Okay, so, hell, I can't. What do you mean, because it can't? Because it's an import. All right, fine. You want to do it that way? All right, put it here. Yep. So anyway, and then I can go like this, right? Right. And that would work. And I could do that enough and so forth. But there's an easier way to do this. I'm just brain farting on how to do it. So I'm going to pause the recording and we'll come back.